Hello, my name is Teresa, and in this video I am going to be talking about the annual review of your child or young person's Ehcp. Ehcp stands for Education, Health and Care Plan. The law requires all Ehcps to be reviewed at least once a year, and there is a formal process to make sure the review is thorough and the Ehcp is up to date. Although the education setting normally holds the annual review, the local authority is responsible for making sure the content of the Ehcp happens and to ensure that the education setting is carrying out everything it should do. The responsibility and the content of the Ehcps remains with the local authority, not the school. The purpose of an annual review is to monitor your child's or young person's progress towards the outcomes that are specified in their Ehcp and long-term goals, to gather and assess information and consider whether the outcomes are still appropriate, to review the special educational provision, to set new targets for the coming year, and to agree new outcomes and any interim targets. The overall purpose is to ensure that the contents of the plan are still relevant and are helping your child or young person to make progress towards the outcomes and their aspirations. The review is an opportunity to reflect on your child's progress, celebrate successes, and to plan for the coming year. The annual review is a 5-step process. Step 1 takes place 4 weeks before the meeting. The education setting must obtain advice and information from professionals who are working with your child or young person, yourself and your child, or young person direct. Step 2 should happen 2 weeks before the annual review, when invitations must be sent out with copies of all reports that will be reviewed at the annual review. Step 3 will be the actual annual review meeting, where progress, outcomes, aspirations, short-term targets, provision, placement will be discussed. Step 4 is 2 weeks after the meeting, where the education setting must by this time have written a report outlining recommendations regarding the Ehcp and send it to the local authority and everyone invited to the meeting. Step 5 is the final step, where the local authority has 4 weeks from receiving the paperwork from the school and need to inform you if they have decided that the Ehcp stays unchanged, needs amending or ceasing. Annual reviews should be completed by the anniversary of the Ehcp being issued or the last review. During the annual review, there may be times when you may not agree to the amendments or decisions. It is important that the education setting have recorded your views and that these are sent to the local authority with the paperwork from the annual review. When you receive a copy of the paperwork from the education setting, then you should check that your views are captured, and if they have not been, then you should contact the local authority and inform them. Any changes to the Ehcp will be made by the local authority only. Although most annual reviews happen every 12 months, there are times when this can happen sooner. If the education setting, yourself or the local authority feel that changes need to happen to the Ehcp before the next annual review is due, then they can ask for an early or emergency review to take place. Other times that a review can happen before the 12 months would be if your child is going to secondary school. The Ehcp must be updated by the 15th of February. naming the school they will be going to the following September. If your young person is moving to post-16 college or school, the Ehcp must be updated by the 31st of March, naming where they will be going the following September. If your young person is moving between post-16 institutions, they must be reviewed and amended 5 months before the transfer is due to happen. If your child or young person is not attending a school or other type of education provision or has been released from custody. From Year 9, annual reviews will have an extra part where preparing for adulthood must be included. Further discussion will include employment, independent living, inclusion in their community and society. Top tips for annual review. Complete the parent views as soon as you can. Review section A and make sure that this is still correct. Bring any new reports or diagnosis to the meeting and if possible share these before. Do not assume that copies of these reports are already with the education setting. The local authority will only add any new diagnosis if there is evidence. Review the current Ehcp. Look at section B and see if these are still a true reflection of support needs. Look at section E, which are the outcomes, and note down if you have felt these have been met and if they need to be changed. Look at section F, which are the provisions, and note down if you feel these are working or if they need to be reviewed. Review all the reports that have been sent to you before the annual review and bring the notes with you to the review. You may want to share these with the education setting beforehand. Make sure that you have looked over the report that the education setting has sent to the local authority after the review, and if they have not captured your views, let the local authority know. The SEND team, or the professionals that are involved, do not need to be present at the annual review. The role of the professionals at an annual review is to produce reports and/or information. Sometimes the professionals or the SEND team want to be present, but there is no legal requirement for them to do so. Remember that the annual review should be a positive meeting and is important to review the strengths and the achievements of the child or young person, as well as discuss the support needs. For further information on annual reviews, you can visit the RIAS website, www.redbridgeiass.org.uk, or you can email rias@redbridge.gov.uk, or call the service on 020 8708 8922.